were those that acted so miraculously. Abraha raised his eyes to the sky and saw the bird and pointed out the bird to him. The bird dropped a stone and Abraha was also killed. After the miraculous event, Abraha's army was found lying on the ground dead as bits of some withered and munched grass rendered useless for any purpose. The question here to the Holy Prophet signifies that the Holy Prophet could visualize the event by the will of the Lord. Verse 2. The protection, safety and the honor, the Quraysh enjoyed was due to the Holy Kaaba being in their city, and their being its guardians. Verse 3. The Quraysh, under the great obligation, in duty bound, should worship or serve the Lord of the Kaaba, who is the true God, and not their own made idols and their other fanciful deities in his place, who could neither hurt nor profit anyone. Verse 4. When the Quraysh have been granted such great blessings, they must gratefully worship the Lord of the Kaaba, who in spite of their land being only a desert and thus unproductive, provides them with every kind of good food and the other provisions of life through merchandise and the pilgrimage which brings to their very door their needs through the great multitudes of the visitors who come there also to buy and sell, and God had protected them from the most formidable enemy Abraha, but for God's help they would have been destroyed and their city would have been lost, the Kaaba, on account of which they are honored and respected. Their city would have been laid waste by the enemy, they with their wives and children would have been taken as captives, and enslaved and sold away to the others, and thus they would have been torn away from their kith and kin, and their tribe as a whole would have been disintegrated and wiped out of existence. This was an open admonition to the Quraysh who had been in the start of the ministry of the Holy Prophet, the most inveterate enemies of the Apostle of God and the message of the unity of the Lord, which he preached. It was as well a warning inviting their attention to the mighty power of God, who could also destroy them and humiliate them as he did act with their mighty foe Abraha. 3. 1. Protection. Security. 2. Refer to. 2. 126, 14. 37, 28. 57, 29. 67. 3. See Chapter 95. Shares. Surah al-Ma'un, Alms. Revealed at Mecca. 7 verses in one section. Sections of Surah al-Ma'un. 1. He who cares not for prayer and withholds alms. Al-Ma'un, he who cares not for prayer and withholds alms. Woe unto those praying ones who pray but care not for the prayer, do good to show to others, and refuse alms to the poor. In the name of God the Beneficent, the Merciful. What? Hast thou seen him who bellieth the final judgment? 1107. 1. That is he who repelleth the orphan. 107. 2. And urgeth not others to feed the poor. 107. 3. And woe unto those praying ones. 107. 4. Verse 4-5. Those of the worshippers who are careless about the prescribed daily canonical prayers. Those who sometimes pray and sometimes do not. Those who do not offer the prescribed daily prayers punctually, and allow the exact time for the prayers to pass away in idleness or in the worldly business and enjoyments. Those who pray to show their prayerfulness and piety to the public and do not do it when they are alone. The Holy Prophet said that the prayer is the central pillar of the faith. He who neglected it has destroyed the faith, and in another place, he said, if prayer is accepted, all other deeds of righteousness of the individual will also be accepted, and if the prayer is rejected, all the other deeds of goodness, be they of any degree and of any quantity, will be rejected. The first holy Imam Ali ibn Ali Talib said, hypocrites are those who carelessly allow the prayer time to pass away. In one place he says, I do not pray or serve God for fear of his chastisement, for it will be the prayer of the slave, nor do I pray or serve God to get the bliss in heaven which God promises, for it will be a trade, but I pray to him and serve him, for it is due to him and he alone deserves to be prayed to, and to be served. This passage shows that even among the early Muslims of the Meccan period there were some who were negligent of their prayers and hypocrites in their religious practices and niggardly in charity. AP. Negligent of their prayers. This applies to the negligence in the observation of the time and attention during prayer. To attribute such a condition to the Holy Prophet amounts to blasphemy. AP. Verse 6. Those who offer prayers or do good deeds only to be seen and known as good men among the people, i.e. the hypocrites. This is a warning to all believers to see that whatever good they do, is exclusively to please the Lord and not to earn any name or fame. Verse 7. Mon, the poor rate, alms, but it actually means things of insignificant price like water, fire, and salt, which are the necessities of life. According to Ibn Abbas, Sayyid ibn Jubair and Ibn Masud, they are the things of domestic use, including even the vessel of daily use. The Holy Prophet said, "He who gave salt to anyone who needed it, it will he equal to liberating 60 miserable slaves, and he who gave whaler to one who needed it, will he equal to giving life to a dead man." 1. This condemns the belying attitude. 2. See 1. 3. Shares. Surah Al-Kawthar, the abundance of good. Revealed at Mecca. 3 verses in one section. Sections of Surah Al-Kawthar. 1. The abundance given to the Prophet. Al-Kawthar, the abundance given to the Prophet. The abundance in good and in offspring granted to the Prophet, prophecy that his enemy shall be deprived of the continuity in issues. In the name of God the Beneficent, the Merciful. Verily we have given thee, O our Apostle Muhammad, the Kawthar, abundance. 108. 1. So pray thou unto thy Lord, and offer sacrifice. 108. 2. Verily, thy enemy shall be the one cut off in his progeny. 1108. 3. Commentary. Verse 1. The Holy Prophet's son Tahir, born of the Lady Khadijah, died, and there was no male issue of the Holy Prophet. People viz. Omar ibn Az and Hakam ibn Az, taunted the Holy Prophet, calling him Abtar, i.e. the animal whose tail is cut off, meaning the one whose succession in his seed has ceased, i.e. the one who has none to inherit. To console the Holy Prophet, this surah was revealed with the glad tidings of the greatest amount or the highest degree of the grace of God bestowed on him. Kawthar is said to be a stream in heaven which is meant exclusively for the Holy Prophet. When this surah was revealed, the Holy Prophet was asked as to what Kawthar actually meant. He said that it is a stream of super excellence, exclusively meant for him and the righteous ones who will be served with the drink of it. Saying this, the Holy Prophet struck his hand on the hand of Ali, who stood beside him, and said, "Thou shalt be the Saki, i.e. distributor or the supplier of the drinks from Kawthar, and from that day Ali is popularly called Saki al-Kawthar, i.e. the distributor of Kawthar." Single quote. The Holy Prophet said that, on the day of judgment I will see some of my companions being driven like cattle away from Kawthar. I will ask, why are they driven away? They are my companions. The reply to me will be, thou knowest not that after thy departure from the world, those are they that turned away from the truth and created their own innovations in the faith. This is said in S.B. MIH, and the other Sunni authorities on the tradition of the Holy Prophet. This is a clear and an unquestionable reference to those who after the departure of the Holy Prophet usurped the position which they were not entitled to and deprived Ali and the Al-Bayt of their legitimate rights and started their own schools of thought with their own innovations in the faith, called after their names, and many other diversions for the universal course of the faith preached and practiced by the Holy Prophet. It is said, Kawthar means the abundance of the descendants. It is a fact that none can correctly count the number of children of Ali and Fatima who were recognized as the children of the Holy Prophet, called Sayyids, whereas those who taunted the Holy Prophet as Abtar, or the one without a succession, had gone into oblivion. Kawthar also means the abundance of good given to the Holy Prophet in this world as well as in the next. The regeneration of the human race effected by the Holy Prophet through the faith, Islam, is unparalleled in the history of the world, and the abundance of the goodness of the Holy Prophet in the other world and on the day of judgment will be so much that everyone faithfully attached to him and his holy Al-Bayt as he commanded, will also be able to get himself profited by it as he would get the drink from the Kawthar. Single quote. These people of the character referred to in the preceding chapter would naturally think of the Holy Prophets being short of wealth and issues, and even the number of the clan Hashemite to which he belonged and to which Abu Talib refers. 1. Yuluzo Bahi al-Halak min al-Hashimi, the one to whom the Hashemite knights take shelter. 2. Fahaham indahu fi nimatan wa fawadili, thus they are in abundant bounties and blessing, being with him. This chapter assures the Holy Prophet of the abundance in all aspects and productivity herein. Hereafter. A.P. Verse 2. Though this terse is addressed to the Holy Prophet to mean that in return for the greatest blessings and the greatest amount of the grace of God which has been showered on him, he should pray and offer sacrifices, but it is a command or instruction for everyone, saying that he who aspires for the special blessings from God should get them through prayer and sacrifices. As a matter of fact, it is the common man who needs such guidance, not an apostle of God who is sent duly conditioned with the spiritual excellence and the necessary knowledge of the means to achieve goodness, to show those ways to mankind. Nar may mean sacrifice, or may mean the raising of hand in prayer wherever Allahu Akbar is to be said. Refer to Fiqh, AP. Verse 3. There is a consolation as well as a prophecy that it is the one who taunted the Holy Prophet as Abtar, who would go into oblivion, and not the Holy Prophet, for the issues which he will be blessed with through Ali and Fatima, will be in such abundance that none will be able to enumerate them or know their number correctly. Today the Sadat, or the issues of the Holy Prophet, are found in every part of the world, and this wonderful abundance was granted by God through the one single daughter, Lady Fatima, who was married to Ali. No king or any other prophet can claim this grace of having his lineage continued for centuries together with the innumerable members of it. 1. Left unproductive. Shares. Surah Al-Kafirun, the disbelievers. Revealed at Mecca. 6 verses in one section. Sections of Surah Al-Kafirun. 1. One's religion to oneself. Al-Kafirun, one's religion to oneself. The disbelievers not to worry about the believers, who will have their own religion. In the name of God the Beneficent, the Merciful. Say thou, O our Apostle Muhammad, O ye who disbelieve. 109. 1. I worship not what ye worship. 109. 2. Nor worship ye whom I worship. 109. 3. Nor shall I worship whom ye worship. 109. 4. Nor will worship ye whom I worship. 109. 5. Unto ye be your religion, and unto me my religion. 1109. 6. Commentary. Verse 1. The disbelievers viz. Umayyah ibn Khalaf, Walid ibn Mughira, Azan Aqba ibn Rabia, and a party of the Quraysh had told the Holy Prophet to worship what they worship, and they will worship what he worshipped, so that each might have a share in the truth or the falsehood of the other. This surah was revealed. It is said that Abu Shakir asked Abu Ja'far, why is the same proposition repeated in this surah, which act is opposed to the excellence of eloquence? Abu Ja'far went to the sixth holy Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad as Sadiq and asked the answer for it. The holy Imam said, the repetition in the surah is just in reply to repetition in the proposal by the disbelievers who told the Holy Prophet that he should worship for 1 year what they worship, and the other year they will worship what he worshipped. The statements in this surah are purely logical, that the Holy Prophet, having himself preached the truth, can never naturally or reasonably yield to falsehood, and the disbelievers being attached to their own fancies and vested interest could not act according to the truth they were ever opposed to. As religion or faith is a matter exclusively of conviction and not a matter to be adjusted to suit any exigencies of any social or political situation, or any material advantage, or for fear of any loss or any worldly gain, the one with the knowledge of the truth can never give way for any other consideration or purpose. The chapter declares that there is no way for any compromise between the right and the wrong, nor there could be any compulsion in conviction. This conforms with 256 AP. Turning Merciful. 110. 3. Commentary. Verse 1 and 2. The great prophecy was wonderfully fulfilled in the bloodless conquest of Mecca, and the other Arab tribes sent their deputations to the Holy Prophet and entered the folds of the faith, Islam, one after another. The world knows that the Holy Prophet who was persecuted and hunted out of his birthplace, Mecca, and who took refuge in Medina, could not be defeated or stopped from having his godly way, even by the most formidable forces of the Meccans and their confederates. His mission gradually made its way, and all the wickedness and the treachery of the enemy recoiled on the enemies themselves. Now this prophecy and the promise came from the Lord, with which all the outlying parts of Arabia ranged themselves under the banner of Islam. This was the return for the conviction, sincerity, perseverance and sacrifice in the way of the Lord. Now the tribes together offered their collective Adherence, paving the way for further triumph of the faith in the outer world to its limits, remaining in store for the future. It is said that this chapter was the last of the revelations from which people sensed the closing days of the ministry of the Holy Prophet were approaching. The first and the second verse refer to the apparent progress of the religion throughout Arabia, and it also refers to the spiritual state of the realization where the Holy Prophet saw every being in submission to the will of God, conforming with 383 AP. Verse 3. It is indirectly an ordinance for mankind to celebrate God's grace and glory, at each event of success in life, and seek His grace through prayer and earn the protection through God's forgiveness of the shortcomings. Istighfar, in the case of a sinful being, means seeking the pardon of God, and the same, istighfar, on the part of a sinless infallible one like the Holy Prophet and his al-bayt who have already been purified by the Lord Himself. 33 will mean seeking further grace and the greater blessings or the further protection of the Lord against the satanic forces. Here, istighfar means the Holy Prophet's asking for the protection of the Lord for himself and his followers against the satanic forces of evil, and seeking pardon of the Lord on behalf of his faithful adherents who might have been the prey of the human weakness, as did Moses for his people who had yielded to the worship of the calf. It is said that this surah was revealed on the occasion of the bloodless capture of Mecca. The Holy Prophet, standing at the entrance of the Holy Kaaba, said, "There is no pad but Goil, the one and the only. He has fulfilled his promise and has helped his servant the Holy Prophet," and then entered it. And to each idol which was there in it, he pointed with his staff, and the idol fell headlong into pieces, and for those which were fixed higher into the walls, he asked Ali to mount up on his shoulders, and Ali mounted and put his hand with his miraculous strength and pulled each one of the idols and dashed it to the ground. It is said that even the largest and the most strongly fixed ones also were easily plucked out. And even the idols of strong metals broke into pieces. When the Holy Prophet recited this surah before his uncle Abbas began shedding tears and said that the matter discloses the departure of the Holy Prophet from this world. The Holy Prophet said, "It is so, my dear uncle." 2 years later departed the Holy Prophet from this world. 1. Refer to 48. 2. Refer to note on Istighfar. Shares. Surah al-Lahab, the flame. Revealed at Mecca. 5 verses in one section. Sections of Surah al-Lahab. 1. Abu Lahab cursed. Al-Lahab, Abu Lahab cursed. Abu Lahab along with his wife cursed. In the name of God the Beneficent, the Merciful. May perish both the hands of Abu Lahab, may perish he himself. 111. 1. Shall avail him not his wealth nor what he earneth. 111. 2. Soon shall he burn in the flaming fire. 111. 3. And his wife, the bearer of the firewood. 111. 4. Upon her neck shall be a halter of twisted rope. 111. 5. Commentary. Verse 1. Abu Lahab, i.e. the father of the flames, whose name was Abd al-Uzza, was a man of a fiery temperament. The Holy Prophet is commanded by God gathered all his relatives to announce for the first time openly that he was the apostle of God. Abu Lahab was also in the assembly, for he was the uncle of the Holy Prophet. He was a cousin of Abdul Muttalib, the Holy Prophet's grandfather. When the Holy Prophet addressing the assembly asked, "If I tell you that there is a huge army of an enemy camping at the foot of this mountain on the other side of it, will ye believe me?" The whole assembly unanimously said, "Certainly we will believe, for thou hast never told a lie." Single quote. Then said the Holy Prophet, "I have come from God as a warner to preach the unity of the Lord." Hearing this, Abu Lahab exclaimed, "Perdition to thee! Was it for this thou summoned us all?" This verse refers to the heavenly curse invoked on the 2 hands of Abu Lahab with which he raised the stone to throw it on the Holy Prophet. Abu Lahab was one of the worst enemies of the Holy Prophet for preaching Islam. Once Abu Lahab was found going behind the Holy Prophet passing through the marketplace called Zul Mujaz, shouting behind to the people not to listen to the Holy Prophet, saying that he was a mad man, and pelting stones on him. The Holy Prophet walked with bleeding wounds in his heels. Abu Lahab died a week after the defeat of Meccans at Badr with some contagious disease, and since his body gave out an unbearable foul smell, was left unburied for 3 days, and at last some slaves were hired to bury it. The verse prophesies perdition for Abu Lahab both in this life and in the hereafter. Abu Lahab and his wife being specifically mentioned as the cursed ones among the enemies of Islam, is just to emphasize that no relationship whatsoever even with the Holy Prophet can be of any avail when the person lacks in faith. It is well said, certainly, did cause fall to Abu Lahab, the noble shirk, polytheism. And certainly, raised Salman al-Farsi, his Islam, to the state of being one of the holy al-Bayt. AP. Verse 2. When Abu Lahab was warned against the hell fire he said that he would purchase the hell with his wealth and escape it. This wise refers to what Abu Lahab had said, and means to say that all his wealth would be of no avail to him at all on the day of judgment. This is a warning to all the wealthy ones who are proud and puffed up of their wealth. Verse 3. When Abu Lahab will be in the hell fire and then he would realize the return for his disbelief and tyranny, and know of what value was his wealth. Verse 4. Jamila, the sister of Abu Sufyan, was the wife of Abu Lahab. She was also equally mischievous and grossly wicked. She was a squint-eyed woman of equally bad temperament like her husband. She used to collect thorny sticks the whole day, bundle them up with some rope made of fiber of the date palm, and in the night, she used to spread the collected thorns in the path, which the Holy Prophet usually used at night or very early before dawn to go to the mosque for prayers so that the thorns may wound his feet or get stuck into his clothes. The Holy Prophet used to collect them aside. Hence, she is called the bearer of the wood. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten 112. 3. And there is none like unto him 112. 4. Commentary. Verse 1. The Jews asked the Holy Prophet to describe the identity or to relate the genealogy of God, and the messenger angel brought this surah. There is a vast difference between the two Arabic words, ahad, and wahid, both commonly thought to mean oneness. To indicate the unity of God, it is said in this verse that God is ahad, i.e. one in the sense of the absolute oneness of his essential existence, not in the numerical sense of the numeral, which has its second and third, but the one which has no second of it. The expression one is in the sense of being the only in conceiving whose existence all the faculties of the human intellect are helpless. He is such a one that even his attributes are his essence and not separate and never separable from him. It is a death blow, Islam rendered to all imaginary conception of any kind of polytheistic doctrines and the phenomena of plurality about the all-divine too. He is one with none comparable to him, without any beginning or end, unlimited by time, space or circumstances. A reality, before which all others have no existence. He is the Creator, one and everything is his creation. This chapter with all its brevity is considered to contain the gist or the spirit of the absolute unity of God, which is the fundamental of the fundamentals of the faith, Islam. It is considered that 1/3 of Quran is revealed as an explanation to this synthesis. It is said that the Holy Prophet was asked to give the idea of Godhead which he preached, and this chapter was revealed. It begins with pronoun, third person, singular, ar. Who, i.e., he, which refers to something known to all but not identified with any, as against the usual reference in the term of first person singular, I, of the conception of the absolute in the Aryan creeds, saying the Atma and the Brahma both are one. 4. The word refer to one, ahad, stands for unity of his essence, i.e., he is not of composite nature. Samad stands to denote that he is all compact in his unity in the sense that he cannot be described or defined to be void of any excellence or any excellence to be void of him. Thus, he is all in the true sense of the term, discarding every possibility of incarnation. Thus proves his all-pervadingness and all-comprehensiveness, which means his being infinite. As such, the question of his being in the sense of something separated from him is his issue, or his being separated from anybody from any origin, i.e., his being born, does not at all arise, and it is self-evident that there cannot be a second or a match or a rival for such a being. It is unimaginable because the very idea of the existence of two implies the finiteness and the limitation of both, which is contradictory to the very idea of the absolute unity of the essence. AP. Verse 2. Samad, i.e. independent of any one. All perfect, the one to whom recourse is made by everything. Eternal for its needs, both for existence and for perfection. The one who needs no subsistence of any kind. Self-existing to understand whose existence every mind is drowned in marvel and wonder. Nothing is hidden from his all-enveloping knowledge, is not accommodable in anything, not even in intellect, infinite in all aspects of the existence and attributes. In fact, the names or the attributes mentioned to describe his existence or its nature, are unconveyable. In their fullness hence cannot be translated to give the correct or the fullest sense or the meaning of the terms. All the meanings attached to this term, samad, or the necessary properties of the actual meaning given. In the note on the authority of Holy Imam Ali ibn al-Husayn as Zayn al-Abidin of the Al-Bayt. AP. Verse 3. Nothing has come out of him, i.e., he has not begotten any issue. There is no son or daughter born of him. To assign a son or a daughter to him, is the greatest blasphemy. Nor is he born of any other being. There is no match or equal to him in any aspect, in any meaning or in any sense of any of the divine qualities. To assign any wife or mate to him is a gross blasphemy against his all-divine being. Since man is a limited being and he with his inherent limitations cannot correctly conceive of things unknown to him but through some examples in the terms used for the things physical, certain terms have to be helplessly used, otherwise the essence or the qualities of God are beyond any description or definition with any amount of human knowledge with the maximum wealth of the linguistic expressions, which man can ever coin in the mind of his intellect. Anything man coins would be incomparably insignificant and hopelessly imperfect and miserably inadequate to deal with the matter connected with the knowledge of the infinite. 1. Perfect, the compact, independent in whom all depend. See the note. 2. C 59, 22-24. Shares. And from the evil of the envious when he envieth. 113. 5. Commentary. Verse 1. Falak, i.e. cleaving, here means cleaving of the darkness, i.e. dawn, it may mean destroyer of the evil effects of black art, i.e. the darkness or the calamitous effect of witchcraft. This surah was revealed to undo any evil effects of any witchcraft or sorcery. The tradition, the Holy Prophet being enchanted by the sorcerers in such a manner that he was himself unconscious what he was actually doing, reduces the last prophet of God to such a state that the rod of Moses would be superior to him to undo the sorcery. These sorts of traditions undoubtedly have been fabricated by the mischievous elements who wanted to reduce the sublime position of the Holy Prophet to their own level of character and belief. Of course, there are traditions about the utility of the recitation of this in the previous and the next surahs in dispelling the possible effect of any witchcraft. AP. Verse 2. Creation of all kinds, visible to the human eye and also invisible, creatures on earth below it or above it, known to man or unknown to him, physical or spiritual, even the psychological disturbances. Verse 3. Gasik, or intense darkness, the miserable difficulties and calamities which can also be compared to darkness against the jovial case in prosperity which can be compared to light difficulties include physical, mental and spiritual. Verse 4. Those who practice magical arts of blowing on knots, the favorite witchcraft generally practiced by perverted woman which creates psychological disturbances. Verse 5. The evil of envy which affects the prosperity of the envied one. The matter of this surah suggests that man in difficulties, physical or spiritual, should seek refuge in the omnipotent Lord who alone and of none else can give him the relief needed. From the evil of the Satan-slinking whisperer, 114. 4. Who whispereth into the breasts hearts of the people, 114. 5. From among the jinn and the men, 114. 6. Commentary. Verse 1. This surah is identical with the previous one, Surah 113. The matter is supplementary to that of the previous surah. Man is asked to seek refuge in God with his name as Rab, i.e. the Lord of men, i.e. the cherisher and sustainer. Invoking this great attribute, man can expect an especially paternal treatment. Verse 2. To seek refuge in God, invoking his authority over the affairs of men, as their king, i.e. he is the one who can independently act over his creation. Verse 3. To seek the protection, invoking the divinity of the Lord as the God of mankind, for it is God's authority which must necessarily be obeyed, i.e. it is his command or his will which is always done. Verse 4. Qanas, i.e. the one who gets back or withdraws. This is a reference